Hello, and welcome along to the stream tonight. I hope that everyone's doing well. Now, I am seeing quite a high CPU usage on my machine just now. I don't really know why, so I'm hoping that that's not causing a problem on the stream. But yeah, so how is everyone doing so far? I see some folks in the chat room. Hello, Maurice. Hello, Kim. And Eohen, I've seen your name on certain GitHub pull requests. I can't for the life of me remember your actual name, or if your GitHub handle is your actual name. If it is, I apologize, but that's all I've got to go with at the minute. So Maurice is saying you're out of sync for a second, but you're fine now. So the CPU usage seems to be coming down. So I'm hoping that that is going to sort itself out. Elias, perfect. There we go. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me on the stream tonight. And like I said, I saw you doing a bunch of pull requests into various repositories for the change to use GitHub discussions rather than Gitter. So yeah, thank you for that. No need to remember names, just remember. I struggle with everything, to be honest. I really do, but I do like to put names to Twitter handles and GitHub handles though, so that's good. Okay, so in terms of me, just plodding along. We're still in lockdown here. Doesn't seem to be getting any change in the near future. So still in lockdown, or essentially lockdown. Living day to day, waiting to see what's going to happen. Still having to do the whole homeschooling thing. So we are making the most of it. In terms of where we got to last week, so at the tail end of last week's stream, we got to the point where we were ready to ship Cake.Strongname Signer, but we didn't quite get there on stream. So the following day, or the Wednesday, I thought, let's just do it. Let's just ship Cake.Strongname Signer and test out whether Cake.Recipe works when running on GitHub Actions. Now, I am happy to say that Cake.Recipe specifically worked a treat. So it correctly identified that it was a tag, it found the name of the branch, and it set about doing a release. Everything worked, apart from the fact that GitVersion asserted the wrong version number, so that rather than getting a 0.2.0 package, we got a 0.3-tags-0-2-0-0-0001 package version. So that's a little bit unfortunate. So the focus of this stream is going to be trying to figure out. Well, I pretty much know what's going on. Need to figure out how to fix it so that GitVersion correctly asserts the correct version number when it is being run on a tag on GitHub Actions. So that's what we're going to be focusing on tonight's stream. So I have been called Manfred, and Kim, you'll get used to it. I do try my best. I do try my best, Fred. I do try my best, Maurice. Nothing new here, just the same old. COVID still here, some traffic accidents and unusual weather, so same old. Okay. Well, you know what they say, a loved child got... Fred isn't added to the list. It's the first thing that came to my head. I don't know why. But yeah, I try my best. I mean, it's quite distracting sometimes, the chat room, because there's a lot of messages flying past. And I want to get involved in the chat, but sometimes I'm trying to do something. So I do glance over and I see a handle and it's like, who was that? And then I quickly blurt something out. And it's unfortunately, Maurice, it is normally you that gets the wrong name. I do apologize. Hello, Nils. Hello, Augusto. Good to see you all. So, I have a reproducible... The problem with GitVersion on GitHub Actions is reproducible when running locally on my VM. So I did reach out to the GitVersion folks. So speaking of names, Arthur said he might be able to join us. I did ask if, and Kim will pick me up on this because it's not the way you pronounce it, but I did ask if Asbjorn would be able to come along as well to see if I'm doing stuff incorrectly. So there may the Git Tools guys might be joining in the stream, but I do have a reproduction, so I can reproduce the problem, and I've got a script for it, right? So these are the steps that are executed on GitHub Actions in terms of checking out the repository. So if I grab all of these things, then these statements mimic the running of the build when it was on the master branch. So if I go back into my PowerShell session, and let's clear this out, and I run this script, then at this point, we have cloned the repository, we've fetched all the upstreams, etc., and we're at a point where we can now run GitVersion. So if we go back here and we run this one, so this is the equivalent of me running GitVersion locally on my machine. So if I run that, then the full semver is 0.2.0. That's exactly what we want, right? If I then run the equivalent of running GitVersion on GitHub Actions, so GitHub Actions sets a couple of environment variables that GitVersion is specifically looking for when it's running on GitHub Actions. So if I run this, then we'll see that when running GitHub Actions with a GitHub ref of master, we still get 0.2.0. So that's what we want, right? If we mimic what happens when we check out the tag, so it's slightly different. So the git commands are slightly different. But if we run this again, so now we've got the repository cloned and checked out and fetched for the tag. So you'll notice that we're on 0.2.0 here rather than on master branch where we were before. If we go back to our commands here and we run again, let's run the equivalent of what we would get if we run GitVersion locally on my machine. So those environment variables aren't set. So we've still got 0.2.0. That's again what we want. However, if we run GitVersion with the environment variables as they're set when it's checking out a tag, if we go over here and run this, that didn't work. Copy paste that again. Copy. Back over here. If we run this, then this is where the problem comes in. So because of setting this environment variable, which GitVersion is telling the GitVersion engine that is the branch name, because this is set as the branch name, everything goes wrong. So it, rather than asserting 0.2.0, which is what we want, it then recalculates or reasserts the version number based on this being the branch name, right? Now that is essentially the same problem that we had with Cake.Recipe. So in Cake.Recipe, what we did, so it's all intertwined. So in Cake.Recipe, we fixed this because in Cake.Recipe, we then ran different git commands to then establish what the branch is that's associated with the tag. And we fixed it in Cake.Recipe. But what we need to do now is we need to do the same thing within GitVersion, I think. But that's where I'm not entirely sure what I need to do. So if we go and look at GitVersion code base, then there is an so this is the GitHub Actions build agent So they're in the GitVersion code base, they have something similar to what we have in Cake.Recipe, where we have a build provider. So they've got one for each of the main CI systems. So in the GitHub Actions build agent, there is an overrided string which says get current branch. So it, at the minute, always returns the GitHub ref. So when it's building a tag, we know that that GitHub ref is refs/tag/020 rather than the actual branch name. So what I think I want to do is I want to put some code within this method that does something similar to what we do in Cake.Recipe. Now in Cake.Recipe, we directly run git.exe and we look at the standard output and we parse that to then find out what the branch name is. Now GitVersion under the hood for most things uses the libgit2sharp DLL. So I'm wondering whether we can use that to figure out what we need to do rather than do this, rather than call out to git.exe directly. So Nils is saying, so we thought it to be an error in Cake.Recipe, but really it's not. So again, they're all intertwined. So Cake.Recipe did have an issue when running on GitHub Actions, and that's because Cake.Recipe needs to assert the branch name as well, because we make decisions based on things happening being either on the master or the develop branch. So we fixed that in Cake.Recipe, but then GitVersion started failing for essentially the same problem. So they're two intertwined issues. Maurice, I have been using GitVersion on GitHub Actions. However, I think I've been using a branch other than a tag. So and therein lies the problem. If you're just on a branch, it works fine. Because if we go back to the actions here, so I can show this in action and show this in action in the actions. So this build, which is the build that was built on the master branch, then if we look at this and we look in the Windows build, and we go down to the build project and we look in the asserted calculated version number, then the calculated version number is 020. So it was right. However, if you then go back or you go to the next stop where it's actually building the tag, that's when it starts to go wrong, essentially. So if we look at the exact same thing, so the exact same commit essentially, but it's building it as a tag, and you look at the asserted version number here, then the asserted version number is this then, the 030. That's where the problem lies. Kim, branches would work as expected, but since GitHub don't check out the tags in the same way that other CI platforms, it's caused more. Now, interestingly, when I mentioned this to the guys on the Git Tools Slack, the exact same thing is happening on Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is must be checking things out in a very similar way to what GitHub Actions is. So if we fix this for GitHub Actions, I think we'll also need to fix it for Azure DevOps. But that's a different. The main focus just now was getting it working on GitHub Actions. I remember we did some things according to which branch we're on, not to assert a version. Exactly that. So Kim's saying yes, we didn't do anything related to versioning at all. Augusto, do you think that the same issue we had with? So no, that's something different. So, so I mentioned this in Slack, Augusto, but the way that we are doing the RC tagging for Cake is we use GitVersion, but we're actually abusing it for this specific release. Now, we don't have as a Cake project, we've never really done RCs before. So GitVersion isn't set up in a way, or no, more specifically, GitVersion and our publishing process isn't set up for doing release candidates. So we only ever publish in the Cake script that we're using on Cake at the minute. We only ever publish when we are on the master branch. So we don't have any setup for publishing when we're on the release branch. So as a result of that, Matthias sort of abused the flow, the workflow, GitHub flow, Git flow, whatever you want to call it. So we have the release branch, and then we merge to master, and then tag the master branch at the current RC that we're at, so RC001. But we then continue development on the release branch, So GitVersion at that point is confused because GitVersion is trying to assert a beta version number. And we've tagged it with an RC number. Now, we haven't set up the GitVersion configuration file to use RC in the name as opposed to beta. So it's getting very, very confused. It can be set up to do what we want, and because Pascal does this all the time on his add-ins. So if we were to correctly assert the version number and tag the version number that GitVersion is expecting, then when we did a subsequent commit on the release branch, it would continue to work the way we expect it to. But we're wholly abusing it at the minute, and it really came down to the fact that our build process is not set up in the way that it would work at the minute. Now, it's something we need to do post 1.0 so that in future we can do RC releases. Anyway, Kim, I am curious, if you do a git pull all before GitVersion is called on a tag build, will the version number be asserted correctly? I mean, we can try it. So let's go back to a known starting point. So let's get rid of that. And let's do, on the tag branch you said, on the tag build, so let's grab this, copy, and clear this, run this again. So you want me to do a git pull -- all. You are currently not on a branch. Please specify which branch you want to merge with. So it doesn't want me to do that. So no, I don't think that's going to help. So what I think the reason I think that if we return the master branch, it will all just work. Let's do this again. So let's do this. So strong name signer, and let's go back to our known starting points. Let's grab this, and let's do this again, right? The reason I think this is what we want to do, I've checked out the 020 tag. If I were to pick this one up rather than this one, so let's imagine the situation that we've overridden the overridden string to return the branch name rather than the tag, and we've put it into the GitHub ref. If I grab this and run GitVersion with this, then it will correctly assert 020. So I think that's what we want it to do. We want to return the correct branch name associated with the tag, and GitVersion will work. So what we need to do is we need to do additional work in this overridden string, similar to what we did in Cake.Recipe, to correctly return the branch name associated with the tag rather than directly return the GitHub ref. And if we can get that to work, then I think it'll all work. So with that in mind, if I grab another PowerShell window and let's cd into GitHub, organizations, Git tools, GitVersion. Now, I was messing around with that because I was. Git reset hard, git status, fine. That is fine. Now, the other thing that I now need to do is oh, hold on. Kim, not so sure to be honest if that's correct, since the ref is git is refs tag 003 or something. Shouldn't that really be the source of truth for GitVersion? So, well, okay, so let me bring this up so that we're talking about the same thing. So this is the ref that you get when you're running the tagged build. This is the ref that you get when you're running just from the master branch. So what I want to do is I want to run this when we're on a tag. Very similar to what we did in Cake.Recipe. I want to return the branch name because that's what GitVersion wants. GitVersion wants a branch name. It doesn't want the ref to a tag. Because like I say, the method that we're overriding is get current branch. But what we're currently returning it is the ref to a tag. So that's why I want to put in the branch name. So what don't you like about that? I'm genuinely curious. I'm going to close out this now. I can't get some cycles back. I'm going to wait for Kim to come back to me with some thoughts. Why is my camera frozen? What happened there? That's not good. Let's change that. Camera seems to have frozen, so let's go to here and let's bring it back again. See if that helps. There we go. It just sounds wrong to me. To me, it sounds like the intention will be that any tag reference will be ignored. Could just be me that reads into it wrong. So my understanding is that that method will return the branch name, but then as part of the built-in process that GitVersion follows is it will then fetch all the tags, it will fetch all the branches, and it will correctly assert the version number. So behind the scenes, GitVersion is reconciling all of the information that's required in order to assert the version number. So it's not that we are telling it or we're not overriding the tag. GitVersion will still figure out what that tag or what tags are available. It's just that all we're doing is giving it a starting point, and that starting point is the branch associated with the tag. So it's the exact same thing as if we were running it locally. So if we're running it locally, the GitHub ref is never asserted because we don't return it. GitVersion already knows what branches are available. But when it's running in CI, there's some additional helper methods that is to get the branch name. So if you look at how it's done for Azure DevOps, you look at how it's done for AppVeyor, then it typically returns an environment variable. But as we've seen, AppVeyor returns the actual branch name, even if it's a tag. But for some reason on GitHub Actions, it doesn't return the actual branch name, it returns the tag. So I don't think we're breaking anything. Now, has my camera frozen just for me, or is it frozen on the stream as well? Can anyone confirm or deny if it's just me? Because it's quite disconcerting that it's just kind of frozen. It is frozen again. Okay, let's try setting it to something else again. And let's do it one more time. See if that helps. Frozen here as well. Okay. I've unfrozen myself, so hopefully it will stick around for a little bit. So I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, Kim. I really don't. I'm just guiding GitVersion down the right path. I think. What is the temp in the UK just now? It's cold. I wouldn't say it's frozen. Well, it's 0 degrees currently, according to my phone. So it's pretty much bang on being frozen. So I'm hesitant without some buy-in, Kim, to do any changes to this. And that's when I was kind of hoping that Artur or Asbjorn would come into play. The fact that you're hesitant makes me even more hesitant. If you plan to check out a branch, then I would argue that perhaps you will do something wrong. But if not, so I'm not. All I'm going to do is all I'm going to do is guide GitVersion to do what it needs to do. And GitVersion wants to know what the current branch name is. Again, I mean, it's in the method name. It wants to know the current branch. Now, in the current implementation, that GitHub ref doesn't always contain the branch. It contains a ref to what could be a branch, but also to a tag. And then it goes off and it does something crazy. So what I think I want to do is I want to, first of all, I need to fix this because Artur has literally just changed the branch name to be main. So I'm going to jump onto the main branch so that we have this. And then if we go into Visual Studio, let's open up the GitVersion source code and try to figure out how we can do the equivalent of what we did in Cake.Recipe. So if we go up to here and we look at Cake.Contrib Cake.Recipe, and we look in here, we look in here, and we look in GitHub Actions, I think what we want to do is the equivalent of this, where we called out to get branch -r contains to see what it is. So if I grab this and we go back to here and we do get, copy, get branch contains, then it was the refs tags 0.2.0, that doesn't work. Then that is what I think I want to pass in to GitVersion. I think that's my current plan of attack. There is one thing I don't think that I ever checked. GitHub Actions have the environment variables GitHub head ref and GitHub base ref. Is it possible? No, it's not. That's one of the things I checked as well. So if we go back to here, so which one was this one? This one was the, well, we could see this. We have them all here. So if we scroll down a little bit, then in here, the GitHub ref was ref tag 0. The GitHub head ref was empty, and the GitHub base ref was empty as well. So both of those are not set. And if we go to this one for the master branch, then they're both not set. So as Nils is pointing out, they're only set for PRs. Correct. So in this one, if I search here for master, then where did it go? Here. It's not showing that for some reason. So the only mention of master on here or in these variables is on the GitHub ref, but the equivalent over here has no mention. There's no mention of master in any of the environment variables when it's running on attack. So this is why I think what we need to do is point it in the right direction. So if we go up here and go to recent projects and solutions, GitVersion solution, then we need to figure out how to run GitVersion and also to run Git or the libgit2 sharp DLL to do the equivalent of the git branch -r -- contains and get the value back. So I had a quick look at this, and there was mention of it doing something with the init command. So if I were to look in here for something, this one, there's a GitVersion executor, but where was it? Where was the thing that I was interested in? There was... saw it recently, so it was a recent commit. Let's go up to here and let's look at recent commits. This one. And there was one recently where they switched, use git command for init in git tool. Oh, it was in the testing. That's maybe what it was. So there was a repository fixture that instead of using libgit sharp repository.init, it used an init command, and that init command was put into the repository fixture base as well as the git test extension. Okay, so that's not what I wanted it to do. Okay, so that's fine. What I need to do then is I need to figure out how to run git or libgit to sharp, get the information that I need from the repository. So in here, in git, there is a branch class. What does this do? Maybe something a la commit parser, which matches the git the tip SHA with a branch, or tries to. Okay, hold on, where's that? Here. Is that going to open? Oh, copy. It's going to put CPU. See if we can bring this up. So what am I looking at here, Kim? This is commit parser, which is from PC. Oh, this is your tool for doing version assertions. So what you were doing was for each commit in head commits. Interesting. Oh, I see. Okay. What I was curious about is what already exists. So there is a is detached head, is remote, is tracking. So there's already work going on in some of these classes for spec, get hash code correction. And there's also a tag here. So what do we have on tag? Compare to get hash code target. Field target commit. Target. What I'm wondering is whether there's something that's already there that we can make use of, or whether we need to augment what's in here so that we can get the information that we need. Is really what it comes down to. Let's just have a little look through here. Let us ask. So I did ask him. He said he might be along tonight, but he did say he would be about 30 minutes late. If he was going to be available, he was going to be about 30 minutes after the stream started. Oh, he is? Is he here? Oh, he's here. Hello. Right. Good to have you along. So, well, we'll do a quick recap for Arthur's benefit. So, what I've come down, I've got what I've figured out, or what I've put together, are the Git commands that are executed when my repository is being built on GitHub Actions when it's just a master branch. And I've also got the commands that are run when it's running it on a tagged build. So the end result is that GitVersion will correctly assert the version number when it's running on the master branch, but as soon as the tag's involved, it gets confused. So I'll let you see this in action. I'm going to grab this set of commands here, and if I go back and delete the repository that's checked out, and I go into here and I run this, so this is going to clone and it's going to bring the repository to the state that it is on GitHub Actions, right? And if I run this, which is the equivalent of me running GitVersion locally, not on CI, then at this point we get a full semver of 020, which is exactly what we expect it to be. Okay? If we then run the equivalent of running GitVersion on GitHub Actions, so I'm setting the GitHub Actions environment variable, I'm setting the GitHub ref to be what it is when it's running on the master branch. If we run this, that didn't work, that copy paste didn't work. If I run this, then we'll see that the full semver is still being asserted as 020. That's exactly what we want, right? If I then delete that repository and I clone it as per what happens when it's running as a tag, so it's slightly different commands, and the end result is that we end up on a 020 checked out as the tag, right? If I run GitVersion as though it was running locally on my machine, we still get the full semver being asserted correctly, so it's still all good, right? But then if I run GitVersion with the environment variable set as they're set on GitHub Actions, so grab this and grab this and run this, then you'll see that this is where it starts to go wrong. So because the GitHub ref is set to refs tag 0.2.0, the calculation engine goes off and it creates 030. Now, if I run this one, which is then setting GitHub ref to be back to master, so we're over here, copy that. If I run it as though we're on the master branch, then we get the correct semver back. So to me, the issue is that over here, oh, I've lost it now, haven't I? If I go back to where I was, which was in source, in core, in build agents, in GitHub Actions. So currently this method always returns the GitHub ref. So when it's running the master branch, that is master, essentially. When it's running on a tag, that is refs tag 020. So what I think I want to do is I want to, in this method, rather than blindly returning GitHub ref, I think what I want to do is I want to try and find the branch associated with the tag to then return the current branch name. So my question to you, and what Kim was alluding to, is how would I do that? Now, in Cake.Recipe, we run the equivalent of in Cake.Recipe, we run the equivalent of this command. So we run, in order to, within Cake.Recipe, we need to know what the branch name is for certain things. So in the situation that we're running on GitHub Actions, for Cake.Recipe, we run, and we know that we're on a tag, we run this command, which will then return us the master branch, the name, the master branch. So I want to run the equivalent of this command within GitVersion, or some other way. If GitVersion is already figuring out what the branch name is for the current tag, I want to use that. But if it's not already doing something, the question is how best to do the equivalent of this command or something else, so that what we return from this method is the actual branch name. But that's a good question, because we had that question. That question came up when we were editing Cake.Recipe as well, and we basically said just return the first one. It's essentially what it came down to, is what we did, because there was no other kind of really reliable way of doing it. But I'm all ears as to do something else. This is the opportunity to get it right. So, what do we think? How do we think we should proceed? I'm going to wait. There's going to be dead silence. And I won't, because I don't like sitting in silence when I'm doing these. My camera's still playing up. I've got a new camera on order. I've ended up not liking the camera that I've got. So I've got one that doesn't have autofocus, because the autofocus on this one keeps putting me fuzzy and not fuzzy. There is a iRepository store where most of the queries are. So let's go have a look at that then. Over here, let's have a look for pause, can't type, pause it, still can't type, repository store. Why does GitVersion require the branch name in the first place? So I haven't gone down that path. I haven't looked to see I haven't looked at that, to be honest. So in here there is find merge base, there is get current commit from the branch name and the commit ID. Shouldn't the tag lead to the version? Well, it does, and this is what I said to Kim earlier. So GitVersion will attempt to normalize the repository and fetch everything that it needs to assert the version number. But when the GitHub ref is set to the tag rather than a branch, something goes wrong. I haven't dug into the something to figure out what that something is yet. I mean, if we want to go down that route, then absolutely we can. I'm happy to debug debug GitVersion here, pointing at the repository that I'm using, if that will help answer the path of going forward. Happy to do that. Get branches. Oh, what's this? Get branches for commit. That could be a useful one. Get branches containing commit. Oh, we might be able to use those ones. Find commit branch was branched from. Find commit branch was branched from. Okay, so that needs a branch, so we don't need that one. Get current commit tagged version. Okay. Get version tags on, so that's a branch again. Get valid version tags. Is commit on branch a bool? Determine incremented field. Get number of uncommitted changes. So I'm wondering then, so do we have a repository store in GitHub Action? So if we go to GitHub Action, look in here. Do we have a repository store? And if not, can we get one? So can I, so what's in the base? This thing. So that was I was just wondering what's on here though, or what is there already. So in here, that is the thing I don't really understand. When there is a tag and it is the latest commit, there shouldn't really be a need to normalize and detect any other branches. That is what I tried to mean source of truth earlier. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I really don't. So what you're saying is, if we think about this differently, then, so if we were to go to here, I think I set this up earlier. So debug. No, I didn't. If we go back to here, or if I did, I've lost it. If we do .NET GitVersion and we look at path, target path, we take this and we point it at here. Here, and we look at program, and we look at here. So what you're trying to say, Kim, is when we're calculating the version number, if there is a tag, just return it. Before doing anything else, just return the tag. Or down to rabbit hole for someone. So maybe that's a good question for Arthur then at this point. So are we right in saying that if you're running Git version on a tag, and that there is a tag on the commit that you are running Git version on, should it just return the tag, or does it need to establish the history in order to do it? So, and to answer Pascal's question, if we go back to here and do copy back to here, this, and we do this, type, then we should be able to see that. Where does it start to ending normalizing Git repository? So it does do the normalization, normalizing Git directory for branch blah, one remote found origin, skipping fetching, updating local branch to 020. Find possible parent branches, master and origin master. So it knows that the branch origin master has a matching commit. So it knows that. Ending attempt to inherit branch configuration from parent branch. Running against branch tags 020. Current commit is tagged, so it knows that part as well. It knows that current commit is tagged with version 020. Version calculation is for metadata only. Zero commits found between there and there. Beginning calculated base version. Found commit matching merge message format. Merge message branch release 020. Then it's got some of the version commit messages, and then it is saying 020. So I honestly don't know how it's jumping to 030. So hold on, I'm playing catch up a little bit. At least that is what I would expect, but of course someone should perhaps, I'll return the tag if it is a valid version. Yeah, fair point. Well, it should take the tag. The question is if it sees the tag. Well, it sees it, but it's not a tag, but rather as a branch. Yes, I think this is underlying. So based on the output though, I think it is finding it. So if we go back up to where I saw that, where did I see that? Current commit is tagged with version 020. Version calculation is for metadata only. So something is happening or something is causing it to go down path to assert metadata that is then getting confused. So where is that part? Current commit is current commit. Why did not find it? Our solution case is, there we go. So it gets into here. Let's maybe do this. Might not get there because I haven't passed in the environment variables. Let's breakpoint and get there. Let's this again. Yeah, so it, because I haven't passed in the environment variables, it doesn't go down that path because it's not running on CI. So we've already established that running locally, it just works. So then the question becomes, how can I easily fake it? Maybe let's just do it in here. Let's just fake it so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to return here refs tags 0.2.0, and then this one up here, which is environment variable name. Not going to be an easy one to fake. You can put a breakpoint into the calculate version. Calculate. Oh. Okay. But what I was gonna do was how do I pass in an environment variable to here? How do I do that while I am debugging? Can I do that? Oh, environment variables. There we go. GitHub Actions through, and let's just do it properly then. GitHub ref to be refs tags 1.2.0, and let's go back to the one that I changed then. Back to the way it was. Okay, so let's run this again. So we're in here. We're in git preparer.prepare. So if I just step over that, okay. So in here really is where we're interested then, right? So semantic version, next version calculator. Oh, hold on. Version variables is not equal to null. How has it already got those? Is it cached it? Dang it. You can put a breakpoint. So how do I tell it to no cache? Is there, can I do that? Put no cache. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. So if I do this again and go back in program, back in here, and do dash cache. Okay. See if we can get back to the same point. So we got to here this time. So if we go into question, if the return string that gets the branch tag name returns an empty string, if it detects refs tags, would that work? Don't you need to save the app file? No. That is a misnomer that it's not saved. It has passed that in because we've already got past the point that it was before. So that no cache has gone through. If the return string that gets the branch or tag name returns an empty string, if it detects refs or tags, would that work? And that's a question for Arthur. Instead of returning refs tags 020. Don't remember. That's fine. So we step into here then, and then we step over. So we know that the current branch context dot current branch. Yes, do it. So it thinks that the current branch is tags slash 0.2.0. That's what it thinks the current branch is. So if we step into this, is current commit tagged? Yes, it is. So it knows that the current commit tagged version is showing me. So it knows that the current tag version is 020. So it knows that. So if we step in or step over this, where do we get to next? The semantic version, tagged version is going to be null. If context is, so that's true, we know that that's true. It's going to set the metadata to be, and it's going to, I'll come back to that. It's then going to set the tagged semantic version to be the semantic version with the current commit tagged. Interesting. So what that should work then. So step over, step over, my semantic version, that looks right so far. So how does it get to 030? Let's continue down the path. Step over. So then it's going to say what is the base version. So the base version is 020. Fine. So then it's going to ask are we on the main line? So that should be a no, because we're not using mainline on this one. Then it's going to say perform increment on the base version. So this is where it's going to start to be 0. There. There. It performed the increment, and that's then where it got confused. So the build metadata has all of the stuff on it. So the branch, the commit date, etc., etc. So why did it perform? Well, that's interesting then. So it correctly asserted that the semantic version number was 020, and then it found that the base version number was 020, and then it performed an increment. What does it do with the tagged semver variable? Which one are you looking at, Pascal? What does it do with the tagged semver variable on tagged semantic version? So this one. What does it do with this one later on? Oh, let's have a look. Well, it's not null. It returns it. So if it's null, it would. Okay, let's keep going. So, oh, what happened there? Oh, I don't know what I did there. Let's run it again. So we get to here. So we step over this, Has pre-release tag? False. Branch config has pre-release tag configured? True. Pre-release tag does not match configuration. False. So if there, do we get into here? We do. Update pre-release tag with 030 and the branch override name is null. Then it says if it's not equal to null, replace calculated version with tagged version only if tagged version is greater than or equal to the calculated version. So in here, we set tagged version to null, which is why it returned the semver, which is 030. Want to become famous? No, you're all right. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what the correct course of action is here. It would seem as though GitVersion has. Thank you, Maurice. It seems that GitVersion has all of the information that it needs, but for some reason, it gets incremented. So maybe let's have a look and see what it's doing in there. Let's have a look at the perform increment and see what it's doing in there. So let's have a look in Let's step into the perform increment. So semver is 020. Increment repository store base version on the context. So at that point, increment is going to be the minor, and then it performs the bump based on. I remember. Oh, is that a question for me? I thought that was a question for Kim, as in, can you block him as well? Yes, go ahead and block it. I'd be happy with that. I remember that we had a couple of issues in that piece of code with some attempts to fix in a way breaking the other way. Pascal, I don't see the use case to continue after we have a tagged commit. I am with Pascal here. I don't really see the reason there. So what you're saying, so if I understood what both Pascal and Kim are saying is if current commit is tagged, you're saying just return the tag at that point. So we were at this point. Irish John Gaming, hello, how are we doing? Irish John Gaming has rated you with a party of 12. Hello, Irish John Gaming, thank you for joining the stream. We are currently working on, or we're investigating what's going on with a utility tool called GitVersion and trying to figure out why it's not quite working when it's running on GitHub Actions. Thank you very much for the follow, Irish John Gaming. I appreciate it. I'm assuming that you guys didn't hear that sound still. It came up in my ear to tell me that Tails was going nuts there. But you're right, Pascal. GitVersion does have different modes of operation. So it could be that in certain scenarios, incrementing on the tag makes sense. So yeah, GitVersion is written in C#, Irish John Gaming. Quite relaxing, honestly. Thank you very much. So the utility tool here, GitVersion, is written in C#, and it's a tool that helps with attempting to assert semantic version number for a Git repository. And what we found is that in certain scenarios, GitVersion is incorrectly asserting a version number when running on GitHub Actions. So we've currently got Artur, who's one of the maintainers, one of the core maintainers of the project, in the chat as well. And we're bouncing some ideas off him, trying to figure out what's going on. That is currently one of my favourite songs at the minute, Maurice. I can't stop listening to it. I'm at the point now where I am watching YouTube videos of folks watching and listening to that song for the first time and seeing what their reactions to it, and all of them are basically wow. So that's, yeah, it's a great song. I love it. Okay, so where are we at? So there are a suite of unit tests in this project. So if we were to just return the semantic version number if it's a tag commit, in theory, we would know if we've broken something. It's a bit of a leap, I'll be honest, it's a bit of a leap. But if we were to just return if it's a tag commit, there's asserted version number, that still makes sense to me. Is that the Conan O'Brien version, or is that the official music video release? Either, they're both very good. The Conan O'Brien one is a live version, which is very, very good. maybe what I want to do then is next version calculator. Let's go and have a look at what sort of changes have been made to it recently. So what is in here? This is for version calculation. For I was aware of that, so yeah, I won't open it up. Version calculation. Next version calculator. Last updated 4 days ago. If we search in here for what was it? Is current commit tag. Is current commit tagged? Who or what rename moved or changed this recently? Line 45. Look. Oh. Been there for a while. It's been there since Jake was on the project. So this whole area is a relatively old part of the code base. So what was Jake doing at this point? When commit is tagged, do not add commit count of 0, leave empty. Remember, removes +0 from the tag commit version. Adios. Oh. So that is part of it. Yes. So if it is a tagged commit, so the difference between a Git version running on the master branch and Git version running the same commit with a tag is that it will remove this additional metadata. So there's at least one thing that's happening there. So the commit, how can I show this? So if we go back to here, what is it I want to show? So if I go to here, get this one, go back to here, and let's delete this folder again and check it out. So this doesn't have a tag at this point, I don't think, or does it? It does. I've already tagged it, I've already fetched it. So if I run it won't show up for what I was trying to show, but if I run this again, if I run this, then normally you would see a +1 or plus a number of commits, but because it's tagged, it removes some of that information. So that's at least something that's happening in here. So current tagged version. So we added in this. If the current commit is tagged, don't do anything except add the build metadata. As a tag. Thank you very much for the follow, Tark9000. Appreciate it. Yeah, so it's this part here that's removed off of it. If it has a tag, that part gets stripped off. What are you sending me there? Yeah. tools, GitVersion, full 1743 file. Branch without commit, take version from tag instead of branch name. So this was in 2019. So the scenarios are using fixture, make a tagged commit 103, make a commit, create a branch, check out the commit SHA. Assert that it is there, and take version from branch, fine. Branch version have precedence over tag version if version greater than tag. Oh, I see. Okay, so that is a scenario. So we've got a tag, but we know that it's if semver compared to tag. So what are we looking at there? Think that we can semver greater than tag semversion instead as a semantic version. I comparable. Will semver compare leads to failure in some tests? First site is GitVersion calculating wrong. So sorry, Arthur, the code that you've, is that the current code or what are we asking there? Semver.compare to line 16. What in the here? In the PR line 69, yes. So this is, yeah, so this is the, if semver.compare to is greater than, so basically what we're saying there. So we stepped through that code and we found that it was being set to null. Oh, I see what you're saying. This is, so that's when that line got added. Gotcha. Gotcha. So as a result of this addition, it set the tagged semantic version to null. So the question then becomes if we back that out or we change it. So that's this line in here. So we got to this point. So if we run it again, see where we're getting to. Okay. So we know that it's not null. And we know that the semver has been bumped here. And that's why it is. So is that done in the wrong place? Interesting. Semver, because it's already performed the increment. Right. So this check, because we've bumped it, it then gets reset back to null. Replace calculated version with tagged version only if tagged version is greater than or equal to the calculated. So that makes sense. So this statement here makes sense, that we should only use the tagged version if the tagged version is greater than or equal to the calculated version. But because of this line, the semver is not the tag anymore because it's been incremented. So then the question becomes, I don't know what the question is. I don't know what I'm trying to ask here, to be honest. It increments because, yeah, it's a good question. It increments because we're not on mainline. Should it only increment if it is not a tag? So we've already established here that it is a tag commit. And if it's a tag commit, then we set that version number to be the semantic version. But semver is not the tagged version, it is the calculated base version, where increment makes sense. Semver, yes. Semver is the, yes, agreed. For me, it doesn't make sense to continue after tagged version has been determined and then do the comparison, which is higher. So how would you do it differently? But it doesn't make sense if the SHA tip of the semver version and the tagged version is the same. But it doesn't make sense if the SHA tip of the semver version and the tag semantic version is the same. I think I see what you're saying there, Kim. Or in other words, what is the use case when there is a tagged version but semver should be used? Well, while we're mulling that over, I want to go over here and I want to run all of the tests to see if they're currently working. So I want to run these tests on my machine to see what the current state of them are, to then know if I change something, I haven't broken anything. Let's run the test while we're mulling this over. I think the use case is the branch version have precedence over tag version if version is greater than the tag. So that was the new test that was added as part of this PR as well, correct? So let's go back and when there is later commits after the latest tag, it would make sense to use the semver version. I don't think it makes sense if they're the same commit. Oh, I might not have all of these. Find out. Okay. So in the next version, oh, we've got maybe not a good integration test. Okay, so how do I put that into code? So in the next version calculator, let's put this down. You in does. So I'm thinking then in here, if the tagged semantic version dot build metadata dot sha is not equal to. Well, I think we have the tests already, i.e., if we don't break any tests, then I think we should be okay. But I could be wrong. But if tag semantic version build metadata.sha is not equal to the semver dot build metadata.sha, then perform the increment. Is that essentially what we're saying? Or have I misinterpreted what we're saying? Use of unassigned. Oh, well, that's annoying. Oh, because we don't have it yet. Oh, base version. What about that? Otherwise, else, semver equals base version dot semantic version. I'm just guessing here at this point. Fix the null reference. Let's see what this does. My unit tests are not necessarily the best way at the minute, so I've only got 30 minutes left. But let's have a wee run of this, see what it does. Let's get rid of this. Get closer to where we are. Get rid of that one. And we're in here. Right. So we step over that. So currently at this point, our tag semantic version is correct. We're not in there. No, it didn't go in. So SHA is C80. Here is null. Dang it. So why does base version not have SHA? Build metadata hasn't been populated. So am I off with what I'm trying to do there? Oh, I can set. Okay, hold on. Oh, because then we can't set it. Haven't. That isn't doing what I think I wanted to do yet. Because base version hasn't been set. can I set it though? Can I do the equivalent of this here on itself? Even makes sense to do that? Clearly not. Build metadata. It got the number that I wanted. I don't know if that's the right thing to do though. Step over. So if they're not equal, then do that. Otherwise, semver is that. So semver is 020. Then at this point, we do all of these things and we update that. Then our tag semantic version is no longer null. So then we would come into here. That would get stepped over. That gets set. And our tagged semantic version is 2020 with build metadata that is branch of that, commit date, all of that, shizzle, and the clearly that worked. 020 full semver is 020. Fixed it. Okay. So previously, my 628 tests, 5 of them failed. Well, let's run this one again. So 623. Let's see if 623 pass again. And then 9 failed. 15 failed. Oh dear. 48, 55, 60. Oh, we've broken everything. Oh dear. We've gone from 623. Not finished yet. To 478. So that's not a good metric by any stretch. So I'm assuming that a bunch of them in here started to fail. Or it was all of these ones. Feature branch scenarios. Oh, there was a bunch of null reference exceptions. What would have caused a null reference? Interesting. 76% success rate. I've seen worse. Ship it. Ship it. that one as an example. Only that one would have reference exception. Blah 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 blah. Right. Go in this here. Now we haven't tested that code path. But in here, I'll step over that. Well, it'll be this line, isn't it? No. Reference. I mean, we could fix that. So, could say tag semantic version dot build metadata not equal to null, and probably a better way of doing it, but essentially that would be that, right? 648 again. 628. Back to 623. 20 minutes. Oh, still gone. Reference exception. Storms. Why is it getting into there? What am I doing wrong here, folks? Tag semantic. Oh, the tag semantic. Oh, because it. Oh, okay, fine. Well, I don't really want to do that, but let's do it anyway. Tag semantic version not equal to null. What's the proper way of doing this? And that, and that. Fine. Run that, just that one. Aha! Run them all again. Numbers going back up again a little bit. Oh. Going. going. Null conditional operator. That one. Not really helped. It's helped, but it's not helped. So I've got rid of the null reference exception, but a bunch of ones in here that says should be, so it's not incrementing the patch. So under what scenarios under what scenarios would we want it to increment when the SHAs are the same? So this one, what's the setup here? Says make a commit, create a release branch and a tag, branch to make a commit, assert full semver, that, switch to main and verify the version, do that, and this one failed because it hasn't included minor. Pick up version from main marked. See, that seemed right to me. But at this point, the commits shouldn't be the same. So why did it not get there? You can come to. Don't think you. So the here exception. How is it? Oh, it's not performing the increment because the tag semantic version is null. So in this scenario, the tag semantic version is null because it was never set. So it was never incremented. And that makes sense. But we want it. Oh, hold on. What is it we're trying to do here? Again, we don't want it to perform the increment when those things I've maybe got this round the wrong way, have I? Oh, I'm going round the circles now. We would want to perform the increment if equals null, or when the tag semantic version tip is the same as the current commit. Is that not what I have? hold on. What's that last part? Or if it's not the same. So what have I got? I think the problem is that I'm making an assumption here that tag semantic version is the base version number, but I'm not sure if that is what I want at the minute. Not convinced that it is 12 minutes. I think we're on the right track though. And if we do fix this here, then I think this would also fix the same issue on Azure DevOps. So rather than having to fix the build agent for GitHub Actions and for Azure DevOps, fixing it here would fix both. If tag semantic version is null, the old original code should run. Yeah, would be my assumption, yes, as well. Hold on. So stop this. So what we would do, if tag semantic version equals null, then we perform the increment. Fine. Copy that and put it in. So copy. So what we're saying here is if tag semantic version dot build metadata equals null, or tagged metadata dot sha is not equal to semver, that's just a use of unassigned. So that was base version. Base version. Build. Okay. Test Explorer was one of the failing ones. Run this one again. Okay. That one started working again. So if we run all of them again, do we get back to 623? Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We're back into the 600s. Still running. 609, 622. We're no worse than we were before. Love it. Still running though. So we're no worse than we were before. So should we, at this point, create a PR and have the CI run and see what it comes up with? So where are we? So this is here. Do we even have an issue for this one? But on CI, they're 100% fine. So PR. So you don't happen to remember the issue number that Asbjorn pointed me at, do you? There was an issue about Azure DevOps, and it said something like tags hyphen. It was the same problem. Bug on building. Yes, so we still need to add a test case in, but I'm just worried at this point about breaking existing things, and then we can add in a specific test where we construct a fixture where the everything is set up the way to assert the same version number. Absolutely. Is it this one? Asbjorn pointed me at a. Let me find the one. Blah blah blah. Having a local reproduction. 2456. When I'm on. Why is the URL not updating? That is bizarre. This one. 2456. So let's use that one as a basis for this PR. So git checkout -b bug 56. That it was 56 from main. Let's have a wee look. Yeah, 5 minutes. I think they take longer to run than that, right? How long does the CI builds take? Arthur? Font setting. Professor in first stage. Okay, let's see. PH2456. Testing. Well, rebase with proper layer. Right. So GHPR create. Is that right? Which should be the base repository used for querying issues? Should be that one. Create a fork of. I've already got a fork of that. Well, that's annoying. Git push origin. Just do it the old school way then. Back to an environment variable issue there. Can I promise that I'll fill this out later, Arthur? I'll come back and I'll fix it. I promise. I will. Thanks. So currently CI builds are at 100%. So all the unit tests pass, correct? You'd still be able to do GHPR create after you have pushed changes. Not important though. Okay. Could have done that. Okay. Validate commit. Beautiful. So which one is the one that I'm interested in? One of these unit tests on Ubuntu is the fastest. I think that's the one I opted for, wasn't it? To running test. Kind of want to see if this works. So yes, so as Nils pointed out, even if this succeeds, we would then need to craft a unit test that set up a fixture to get the right version number as well. Because at the minute we're just kind of testing that we haven't broken anything, but we still haven't proven that the case that we're trying to fix has actually been fixed. So we need to think about how to set that up as well. But curious. I'm going to go over a little bit tonight because I want to see this complete. So we're at the point that it's doing the unit tests. Drum roll, please. 72 passed here, which is good. 127 passed here. Hold on, I'm confused. Why is the build still running if unit tests are now? That's a little bit. Slightly confused as to what's going on there, but tests. The unit test section has passed. I don't. Your message got blocked there, Arthur. So I've just accepted it. Build does not run tests. It's dog fooding and creating. I see. Okay. So the unit tests then on Ubuntu all passed. So I've added code and it hasn't broken anything. So then we need to craft a unit test to validate what I've just done. But what I have just done works for my local scenario. So let's get this one back to the point where let's delete this one again. Delete that and back to, let's grab this one again. Copy this into here. Yeah, I'm suddenly gone very slow. let's check out this. Okay, back into here and run GitVersion test or GitVersion app for the path is. Oh, it's lost my path. Slightly annoying. That goes back to what Maurice said earlier, but it should have remembered that. Okay, let's copy this again into here and then do no cache, and then we're going to add in GitHub Actions as true, and then we'll add another one that is GitHub ref, and that is refs tags 0.2.0. And let's run that, and this should assert 020, because we come into here and we do step over. We're going to step over that, and we're going to come into here. So far so good. And other, we skip past that. Okay, and we do here, then this is 020. I think that's a success. I do. But I agree we need a unit test to finish that off. But I think that might fix the issue. And if it does fix the issue, then I think it'll fix the issue on Azure DevOps as well. So let's mull it over. I will add some more comments and things to that, Arthur. It might not be tomorrow, but during the week, I'll add some more information to that PR with what we did and why. And I'll try and get a fixture added for a unit test to get that done. Like I say, it doesn't seem to have broken anything, which is good. And there is a sizable number of unit tests in there. So I don't think it has had an adverse effect. We just need to prove that it fixes what it was meant to fix. But for now, I'm going to say that that is me. So thank you for everyone who came along tonight, especially Arthur, for your input on GitVersion here. Really appreciated, because this will flow into the work that a few of us here are doing with Cake.Recipe, and the desire there being to be able to run Cake.Recipe fully on GitHub Actions. So, I'm curious about that as well, Kim. I don't know if that's something in my environment that's not set up properly, but that's definitely something to look into at a later date. So as a quick recap, we spent the whole of today basically going through digging into GitVersion, trying to figure out what was going on with one specific issue, which was last week we did a stream on Cake.Recipe and trying to get it to run on GitHub Actions. We ran into an issue where when we went to do the publish, GitVersion was asserting the wrong version number. So we spent today digging into why that was, figuring out exactly how GitHub Actions was doing the clone of the repository, and then we were able to reproduce the issue locally on my machine. And from there, we dug into the GitVersion codebase with help from Arthur and some of the other folks in the chat room. And the end result of that is we put a PR up. It's a very much a draft PR that isn't correctly formatted, etc. But it's draft PR. I didn't mark it as a draft. I should have done that. I didn't. Apologies. I should have done that as well. I don't think I can do that now that it's live. We have a PR up that aims to address this issue, but we don't have any unit tests, so we need to go back and backfill that. Although I've just seen that the build completed there as well, so that's good. Marisa saying, do I hear guest Arthur on the next stream to work on GitVersion? Kim was saying, Arthur saying maybe not. Now test 100%. I think they changed. I think they have changed it so you can change it. Oh, have they? Oh, if they have, I'm gonna do that then. Have a quick look here. Enable auto merge. What I wanted. Right, edit here. No. I know you can on GitLab, but I'm not seeing an option on unless I edit the whole thing. No, I'm not seeing the option to on the right below reviewers. Oh, there we go. They need to make that clearer. People who already subscribed will not be unsubscribed. Convert to draft. Thank you, Arthur. I completely missed that. I went looking for that the other day and I couldn't see it. So how then do I convert it to? Yes, I was looking for it down here because this is where the button is to make it ready. I was expecting the button to be here, not on the right hand side. That's why I didn't find it. Okay, good to know. That's something I've learned. Okay, so that's me done for tonight. I'm going to sign off and go inside. I maybe do need glasses. Yeah, I agree. I wanted the button here, like convert to draft. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, that's me done. I hope you all have a enjoyable week. Stay safe. Stay away from the COVIDs, and hopefully see you all here next week. Haven't decided on a topic. We may well still be looking at GitVersion, depending on how things go through the week. If there is something specific that you maybe want to look at, Arthur, I mean, I'm open to having GitVersion be on the stream as well. And if you want to be a guest, you're more than welcome. If not, I might have a think about what we can be working on the stream. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to say good night. Thank you very much. See you later.